Good evening, everyone. We're going to go ahead and call the meeting to order at this time. Please turn all cell phones, electronic devices to off or vibrate. I'm going to ask Mr. Bob McDaniel to please lead us in our prayer and pledge this evening.
Heavenly Father, we're challenged from Psalms 1 to study your word and to live by your word, to do those things that you want us to do, to be good people, to be good citizens, to honor you in all ways. And if we do that, we'll be like that proverbial tree planted by the rivers of water that will know of its fruit in its time, and it will never die and will never wither away. And we will forever, if we be this way, Heavenly Father, we'll feel honor and glory from you. And being good servants of you, Heavenly Father, good prayer warriors, all of those things we're supposed to be. In our position on the city council, or anybody's position in town as a citizen, it is our mission to make Ballinger a better place to live in, a good place, a Christian place, to work, live, raise our families. And then that day will come, Heavenly Father, when we feel in our heart, we hear your voice saying, "Who shall I send for us?" And then we hear ourselves say, "Here am I, send me." And hopefully, prayerfully, that is our mission for a better Ballinger. Thank you, Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. All right, and so approval of the minutes of the June 17th, 2019 meeting, please. Does everybody have time to review? No comment?
I can't find it.
You already handed her one with corrections?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I was on.
Didn't it say Christy Gore on here? It's really not that
Motion to accept the minutes as presented with corrections.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, City Council will have a public hearing beginning now to hear citizens' input on the proposed charter amendments to be placed on the November 2019 ballot. If anyone is here to speak upon the charter amendments, just please let me know if you have anything to say for, against, approve, not. Mr. Yes, sir.
I would like to speak on it. I was appointed to the committee to help set this up and everything.
Okay.
And I received a copy of the proposed changes today. And so I'm kind of wondering, what was our committee for?
You haven't done the last two meetings,
There's only been,
we had one at the beginning, and then I believe we had two more that I sent an email to the
no, ma'am, you did not. You had one more that was canceled, and then the May 15th meeting, you stated that you were going to send these out, but you never sent them out. So
We didn't have them until the next meeting was scheduled. So how many times have we met? The
we had-
meeting?
And then we had the council meeting on oil, so.
Yeah.
3 of them that I met.
Three.
We met twice.
I think we met twice.
did y'all have this at the May 15th meeting?
Yeah, but we didn't have it until the meeting.
Okay.
It didn't go out Friday.
Okay, my fault for not making that meeting.
Do you have any comment, positive or negative,
I
concerning
haven't
it?
had a chance to read it.
Okay.
Just kind of wondering why I got put on committee. I didn't have it. So.
Yeah, we missed you. I'm sorry.
Anyone else?
Didn't you have something that you wanted or wanted to ask about?
Yeah, that's what you said.
Okay.
All the time.
You okay, Robert? You okay with everything?
Yes.
You want that one word change? Shall, may?
If it comes to the point of us having one, then he shall do it, so.
Which one does that say?
It was on the shall,
Fire.
under the fire department bill, shall appoint a, but if we do end up, you know, with any kind of growth and have a fire department, it probably needs to read the way it does, so. So shall appoint,
You wanted to say what?
well, thinking we had originally possibly discussed May, but thinking about it, if you do end up with a larger fire department, paid fire department, then that would need to read like it was, where shall. So,
You talking about shall appoint a paid fire marshal and or chief?
That's section 901.
it doesn't necessarily have to. Shall's kind of the director's word.
Well, I think we always, I guess, I'm not following, maybe I don't understand.
Well, I think it gives it an option if you put maybe like that.
Okay, don't have we always appointed the fire marshal or chief? We have?
No, what happens, the volunteer fire department, they vote on their chief. And now we have a paid firefighter, which is Brent.
What's his title?
He's,
His firefighter?
yeah, he's not the chief of the volunteer fire department, which I think was, are y'all gonna leave it that way? I know y'all were messing with your charter and bylaw.
Yeah, we're
That
just,
stays in
you know,
there.
we just started the committee to start reviewing it, so. Yeah, we're gonna leave it that way. We elect a chief, a marshal, and then other positions, but nothing that affects the charter other than chief and marshal.
Well, I didn't know if we had I would better change that thing. It's always read the city council shall appoint.
Right.
Before, all the years.
Right.
If we're not gonna do that, then I would say we should make it a may, then, and you don't have to appoint it, because you're not gonna, are you, right now, when you come out of this, when you're, if we make this change, are you gonna appoint a fire marshal or fire chief?
Well, the charter said that.
I don't know how that would fit in with their organization.
Well, the word's paid and everything, and they're fixed a lot of that, so.
Yeah, it just, yeah, I mean, really, that's really what it's saying. You'll appoint a highest
But he
paid
doesn't
officer.
necessarily have to.
Well, right now I would.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Well, I mean, to us, it makes sense that, you know, the council would appoint the fire chief, right? And I think you thought we did that anyway, right?
That's what the charter said.
And I think that's what other communities also do. But,
Usually that the volunteer fire department, you know, is headed up by the
paid fire.
appointed fire chief of the city. Yes.
Okay. And it's just they do it different in there. I'm guessing that's stemming from 1905 when they were established.
Man, we've gone way back to people.
Right. Well, I mean, it's in your charter.
Right, yes,
From them,
yes.
right? So, you know, which makes me wonder how in 1962, when they originally did our charter, that got, because this has been going on for 60 some odd years, right?
Well, if you don't want to do May, I think that's more appropriate. I mean, we don't, I mean, because Tommy, if we make this change, instead of the city council appointing a paid fire marshal or fire chief and such other paid fire, now it'll be the city administrator or city manager's job. And so you would just appoint the paid Mr. What's your name?
Brent.
Brent.
Yeah.
Just Brent. And so that's all you appoint.
Right.
So
Right.
let's make that a May. That's,
Okay.
And that's stemmed from my other deal where you say if he is just a department head or supervisor, that covers that as well. So,
Yes.
Right,
not necessarily the chief or the.
Right.
right.
Yeah. I think another question that came up on there is, this kind of between the volunteer fire department and conflict of interest. It may touch both of these, but if you have a volunteer firefighter that runs for city council, okay, is that going to be a conflict of interest?
Well, when you say conflict of interest, are you talking about under our charter that prohibits any, basically financial interest in any contract with the city?
Well, there was some discussion on the fact that if anything were to come up for the fire department.
Yeah, the councilman would then have to file, for example, if he's the fire chief or if he's even just a lower level employee of the fire department, not a paid employee of the city. But the councilman obviously would have an interest in that department, since
Right.
he would be on there, so he would have filed after they have conflict of interest and not vote on those.
Right.
So, yeah.
Which recuse himself. But a volunteer firefighter could run for city council.
Correct.
Any issues dealing with the fire department, he recuses himself.
Yes, yes.
Was there any other discussion or points on this particular issue? Did y'all have anything else?
We want to run through them again since Ricky hasn't had time to look at it.
Well, I mean, I think we ought to put it on the agenda for the 15th as well.
Right.
My understanding is it did not get put in the paper.
Yes, it did.
Oh, it did, okay, all right.
For when?
Today.
No.
So it came out today?
Well, I think we ought
It's in
to
Thursday.
put it in the paper
Oh, it's
again.
in there Thursday.
It was in the paper Thursday.
I did not see it.
I do not see it.
Okay, well, I think we ought to put it in the paper again.
Hey, Bill, what's the answer to that?
I don't read the newspaper. So the big thing done, I'm already on the next week's story. But, I will check into that. We'll find out. Never read the newspaper here since I started writing.
Maybe, if you could put in maybe a little press release about, that it's on the webpage and, directing people where they can see a copy of it on the webpage.
Okay.
And if y'all want it on the newspaper Facebook page and on our website.
Right.
You let me know that's where you want it, just other than just in the paper.
Right.
I'll be happy to put it on the Facebook, on all our social media and on our website.
Well, I think what we're we just want to have the notice that there's going to be a public hearing,
Right.
because I hate to publish all 21 propositions or 20, however many.
Yeah, in the newspaper, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of paper.
But,
Yeah, it's, I know because I read it, the other day when I got emailed, it's like 1,800 or some odd words.
Right.
And we were actually discussing that, and Brownwood and I were discussing that today because they wanted to run all the propositions in the paper this week.
Right.
But we had the party in the park, and that's a big story, and we had this other stuff going on this week, so, we're probably, my idea is not to run it this week, to whittle it down and kind of go over the high points of it, but I won't know until probably about 4 o'clock in the morning.
Okay. So we can do another
yeah, I put
public hearing.
it on again, that way, hopefully people will have a chance to look at it, make sure that, people, like I said, we did just even just a little article that says, requests that citizens give their input, and here's the full, propositions can be found on the city webpage and all that.
And we can, like I said, also, like the party on the park story I posted today, in 8 minutes it had 400 people engaged in it, so, we get a lot, we reach, usually we reach 2,000 people within 6 hours to post up on the Facebook page, so we can put it in everything, if that's what.
This is probably the most important legislative action of the council since 1963. We had one proposition since then, and now it will be obviously multiple. It really will change our form of government to more the way we have been kind of running it anyway, but not able to run it fully. And so I really want citizens to not be surprised by it.
Right.
Again, most people probably don't even know how it's set up, but at the end of the day, you'd like them to know, and you'd like them to have the opportunity to have their input on it. If they show up to vote, you'd like them to understand, I hope,
Right.
what they're voting on. And so those kinds of things, if people can come ask questions and get the answers, it's so much better for them.
Right.
That's ultimately all we want, people to be educated and know what they may be getting to vote for. So.
The week, that was another subject we talked about today, was I think it was 22 weeks until the election.
Yes.
And with the propositions, we were talking about bringing one proposition a week in the paper until elections. That was an idea I brought up to him to kind of not hit everybody with everything all at once, because it is a lot to digest. You sit there and read it, you know.
You're right.
So if we do one proposition a week and I get the input from the committee and the city on it, then we can work to educate, not just inform.
That's a good idea. Good idea. Yeah, we have to call the election by August the 19th, that's our last day. So,
All right, any other questions or comments concerning charter?
Yeah, I've got a question here. On page 9, Proposition 5, concerning the 2-year terms, and Proposition extends it to 4 years. I think that's a little, the way this is written is a little vague, because it's saying the city councils shall have 5 members consisting of the mayor and council members 1, 2, 3, and 4 elected by the city at large. Is that going to be the city at large? That's not the way it's doing that.
What about single members?
yeah, since we have basically by federal law, we have a settlement in a case, I haven't changed that, it's the way it reads, but, we could do it by ward, but we talked about, and we don't know yet, but, ultimately, we may hope to get it turned back, but we'd like to ask judicial permission for that, so, but our charter technically hasn't been changed, but the law that we operate under has, by agreement, essentially, we settled the case and agreed to do it the way we're doing it. So.
Well, I don't know whether that needs to be reflected in here, just as the.
We can. I did not change anything really regarding the election process in our charter, in hopes that we could, if we were ever able to change it, we could do it. It has to take a court order to reverse it, but then we'd have to turn around and reverse this again. So,
But is that something we'd want to reverse?
Get away from at large. We have at large elections in Broadway for all our council members.
But they're not at large, there's single member districts.
Right, what,
We're single member districts.
The only one that's at large is the mayor.
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
So that's how we're doing it now, but
Yes.
we're doing it because there was a court order telling us
That's
that.
correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
What he's saying is we've left it in there as it was at large, and hopes that we might go back to at large one day.
What's the benefit of doing one or the other?
Well, at large, all citizens get to vote for
Each
right, you
spot.
don't have the district.
Right. I'm saying, what's the benefit? What would be the draw to switch from one to the other?
Well, on some of the single member districts, okay,
Low water
you
turnout.
have low voter turnout. That's all. You know, and you may have 26 people.
Yeah, okay.
You know,
It's across the board, though.
right.
So the large gets better votes.
Y'all is very strange because technically the representative doesn't have to live in the district.
Yeah.
That's I've never seen that before. I mean, usually it's the rep, you're representing your ward, you reside there, and that's the beauty of it. And y'all is very unique.
You're kind of doing an at-large running, but
Yeah.
the district voting.
Well, you allow it's strange because, usually the reason you do these the reason the lawsuit was filed was just because they believed that the at-large waters down the minority vote, and therefore the minorities can't get their representation for each ward. Well, in this one, you literally could have the minority candidate choose whichever ward he wants to run for. I mean, he could run for an all-white ward, or all-black ward if he was a Hispanic, or, you know, he could pick which ward or district he wanted to run.
Pat, when was this court order, or this court case?
96, I think.
Yeah, so really it's not that far back.
No, it's not. It's not. And, I haven't researched it other than I've got the file that Nita provided me, which we've got the settlement order basically saying this is how we're going to do it.
Right.
And I know my research has shown that the only way to change that is to go back to the court and
Right.
petition them for essentially a change. So that's why I didn't change it in here. But, you know, we'll continue to operate the same term. It's totally separate from that issue.
The other,
Well, I mean,
I had about this,
it's demographic list. Everything's, a lot of things have changed in the last 30 years.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't even know if it's needed anymore.
Exactly. I mean, that's probably not, and that's what I'm saying. You know,
We don't do anything, but we have to do what he says as far as go back and get it authorized.
No, I'm just saying, I don't know
but
when you'd be
pursue
ready where
that.
though.
yeah, that's a decision down the road.
And then it says, goes on to say, a term of 4 years instead of 2 until their respective successors have been elected and qualified.
Yes.
But it says nothing about how long you can serve. Like, we've had always 2 6-year terms for a total of 12 years. And then the council person had to step down.
Yeah,
This is not
6 years.
Yeah, 6 years.
Now we've got 3 4s, that's still 12,
Yes.
but it says nothing in here about, the way this is stated, that person could run again, and has 12 doesn't enter into it because it's not stated in.
That's probably gonna be an ordinance, because they
No,
didn't change the
It's
charter.
in the charter. We're just not changing that to group.
Just
There's nothing on that revision
I
already.
didn't see it in there.
Well, it's not even changed because it's not been modified. The 12-year max is what you're
Yeah, that's
still
what I'm saying.
staying.
I guess I overlooked that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about that last time.
It's just not in this package because it's not being
It's in the
modified.
charter, just like it is. I think someone asked about it, and I said, it doesn't say you may serve 6 2-year terms, it says you can serve 12 years. So
Right.
there's no need to change it.
Just as long as we're clear on that, and there's no misinterpretation by anybody.
No, it's not changing. It's not
That-
changing.
Clarify Christianized position. If this passes, will we be running for reelection in 2020?
Yes, you would, yes, you will still have to, it doesn't change, and that's what I think I put in the explanation there. It won't apply for 2019 election, so even though if it passed in 2019,
Right.
obviously it wouldn't count for the folks that are running at that 2019 election. Y'all, because right now they've already been elected for a term, and this won't, the voters elected them for a 2-year term. So they would then only be up for 2 more years. Y'all in 2020 will have to run, and then you run for 4-year terms.
So it wouldn't automatically change their 2-year term to a 4-year
No,
term?
no.
I thought that's what we talked about last time.
Yeah, well, it was, but it's not, after thinking through it and looking at the law, basically, if you think about it, you were elected, we can't change the elected
Good.
midstream, but now, from now on, when you're elected, from here on out, after this is in effect, it will last 4 years.
If it passes,
If we
we're
run
back in
now, if we're running now, and we're
We'll be running for 4
elected,
years.
then we'll be elected for a 4-year term. If it's.
No, we'll still be elected for 2 years.
You're going to be running right now.
Right.
And so I don't believe yours specifically will be,
What he's saying, it doesn't take effect until.
it won't take effect till it's passed. And then we basically have a reading of the ordinance, the election ordinance, the canvass results, and all that. So, so that's what it becomes important.
Good deal.
So Pat, falling back, I've been council before when we had to fight LULAC, when we went from at-large to single-member districts. And Ed wasn't willing to fight the legal battle with LULAC. And so that's why we have single-member districts.
Yes.
Would you say that has been rescinded, or is not quite the issue that it used to be?
Are you talking about single-member districts?
Yeah, of course, an organization like LULAC.
Well,
Well, just minority representation.
It depends on your demographics. Basically, every city has been, up until recently, you had to have a redistricting periodically to look at and address this issue of minority representation. I don't know how your city shakes out on it. We ought to look at that and see if this is still, I don't know if it was even needed back in 1996. I don't really know, because I don't know what our demographics were then. My understanding is this plaintiff or this lawyer sued a number of cities, and a number of the cities apparently decided not to fight it and change. Some fought it, my understanding is, and did not change. And so all I'm telling you is that I don't know if that's really the right thing for us now. I don't have a clue what our demographics are and how this would affect.
Well, if I had a guess, Stella, my place is high Hispanic.
Right.
High Hispanic.
Right.
That would be a demographic yes.
Yes.
And I live in my district, by the way.
Yes.
Myself, I wouldn't want that changed. I enjoy representing the place I represent.
Well, then we don't have to change.
No, that's me.
Yeah.
Jason may feel different.
Yeah.
Oh, I kind of like it. I mean, that's why I ran for this particular spot. It was in my district.
I live in my district, I don't have it.
100 feet.
Is that true? Everybody lives in their district they're in?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that, but
I
that's.
don't think it's always the case, but it
Yeah,
is
I'm
right
going
now.
right now, it has to be. I didn't know that either. Good job, everybody.
And I'd really rather not put up signs all over town.
No, no, we sure don't have to.
Like Christie,
We don't have to change. You're right.
Brad Christie. Like you did.
So
I've been
then,
working hard.
work
You
at
did.
16, we
You deserve
at
it.
large and leave it at that, since that's the way we operate now.
We can.
Does that cause them? I mean, I'm asking, don't do it on my, I'm just.
What'd you say, Jason?
Should we go ahead and have it changed in there to say single member districts instead of that?
That's kind of where I
Well,
was.
it does kind of limit you though, and if you want to go back to the way it used to be, you have to change it again.
Yeah.
I'm for single member district.
I would say,
The way it is
leave
now,
the way it is.
He gives us the option to go back.
Right.
If we change it, we won't have that option.
If we have to go
So
to
then
the
Not taking it back to a vote.
change it back, it's why we're doing that.
I agree with that. That's good.
But also, Pat, the thing that has improved the election process is switching from May to November. Because the general election brings a lot more people out. In my place, there are people they went with a 14 to 7 vote, or 21 people vote. And now you're talking about 200 and something. And I think November election time is really at that process start. Plus combining with the county, it saves a lot. Sure.
All right. Are we done with the proposed charter minutes? Anybody else have any questions, comments, concerns? Everybody jumping up and down. All right, moving along. Any citizen who desires to address the city council on a matter not included on the agenda may do so at this time. Per the Open Meetings Act, the city council may not deliberate on items presented under this agenda item. I'll repeat that. The city council may not deliberate on items presented under this agenda item. All presentations are subject to a 5-minute time limit. If there's anything that needs to be addressed to the city council, this is the time to do it. For those that are here, it's not during the rest of the meeting, during the time where we have discussions with the council. Is anybody here that's on the agenda? Yes, ma'am.
I'm Cindy Cook. I'm a massage therapist. I have a business just right over here by Haskey's,
Okay.
behind Personnel Services. I called, I tried to get put on the agenda.
Okay.
I'm here for the feral cat problem.
Okay.
I have 7 of them behind my shop. I pay a guy to mow, clean it. When I get there, it smells like a litter box because of all the cats that I have. I'd asked Melissa about it. She informed me that the dog catcher was on maternity leave. I said, fine, when she comes back, please tell her to come, set traps. I want the cats gone. So she said, okay, she would. Then she told me there was a guy that was doing it. I said, fine, I want him gone. Well, now I've been informed that there's a woman that's letting them out after they're trapped. And I also got informed that they're going to have them fixed and they're going to put them back out where they picked them up from. And I do not want them back behind my shop. So that's my concern. Like I said, I tried to get on the agenda so y'all could kind of give me some feedback on this, but I'm kind of tired of the cats.
Probably Cindy's right. You know, I don't know Ballinger building. I mean, there's litters of cats that raise back there that are prowling openly. It would take a minimum amount of traps to catch those things.
Right.
And I don't know how long this maternity leave is gonna last, with all respect.
She's back full time.
Is she?
Yeah, I was gonna say, she's back.
What is she
She's
working?
back full time.
She is working, and we are setting traps. I mean, it's a problem throughout the whole city. And they'll trap in an area and then they move because the cats get used to the traps.
And people are letting them out after they're trapped. People are letting them out.
Cindy, it got so bad I went and bought my own trap.
I know, and I've had clients that told me they'll give me their traps. And I've told them, I said, if something doesn't happen, that's what's going to become. I'm going to trap them myself and they're going to be gone.
Anyway, my trap cats, I take out to Stan's house and let them go.
Right. Well, that works. But, you know, also Angela Hoyle up front at Personnel Services is Humane Society, so people know that, so they'll bring them and drop them because Angela will feed them.
Well, and something else that, I mean, they feed them over at IGA. We
Right, and Paskies have clients come and they see all these, I have 7. So they see all these cats, they go to IGA, buy food and bring it over and dump it out.
I've seen that.
Mhm.
And there is an ordinance against that, you know, so,
I assure you, Paskies are clean.
No, I think one of his hands may be.
I'm the other half of Paskies.
But I'm just saying,
straight
he may not be, but I think one of his hands may be.
All right, we'll get that addressed, all right?
So anyhow, I appreciate it.
No,
And-
appreciate you.
One more issue, Cindy?
Yes, sir.
Did you have another issue?
No, sir, that was it, just the cats.
Tommy?
That was it,
She
just,
didn't have
just,
she didn't have a pallet issue?
oh, well, yeah, but that, I got told that was private property and there's nothing that can be done
Who
about
told
those
you
either.
that?
Melissa said that she said something about it and she got told they were private property and there's nothing that can be done
Who's
about
this
it.
from?
we're having to address that. It's becoming a fire hazard.
Well, you think, it's other things too, but I won't go into that either.
All right.
But
Thank you.
anyhow, I appreciate y'all letting me have my say,
Yes,
and I'm gonna go home now, and y'all have a good evening.
You do the same.
Thank you.
I hope you feel better.
Cindy, I relate.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Couple of items here I'd like to kind of bring up.
Yes, sir.
to Start thinking about. There's a new restaurant opening up across from the post office, and I wish them the best of luck. And I understand they're gonna open at lunch, but parking is gonna be horrendous. And the city owns a lot right next to them. That would make a wonderful parking lot. I'd like to see y'all consider turning that into a parking lot.
It's it's in our plans.
Is it? Okay.
Yes, yeah, I've already talked to Gabe Zamora, about it, but it's not just gonna be for the restaurant. It's gonna be, we needed more parking downtown anyway.
Right.
We have we have the Ethnic Festival, we have parades, we have, the downtown Moonlight Madness.
Big party, right there.
Well, I mean,
Right, and that's the next thing.
I'm not looking for parking for the restaurant, I'm just looking for that.
I've been told about it,
Right.
right?
Yeah, that's, we want to retain that. He had approached us to purchase it, but I don't know that it's the right thing to do because, you know, he might want to, I think he talked about turning it into a basketball area and we desperately need parking in that area. So
We do.
that was our plan, is to turn that into a parking lot.
Okay.
The only tricky thing is there's a lot of electrical traffic light panel right there. So we're gonna have to build a little wall to keep that from getting hit. But other than that, our plan is to, right now, put bleaching in there. But it will be used as a parking lot
Okay, great.
You have a time frame on that?
as soon as we can. It's on the list of things
Are you
to do.
liberal?
Now, I do have one more thing that really needs attention quickly though, and there's an alley that goes between my office and Tyler Company. Dump trucks go through there, and there was a water line repaired sometime years ago, and this thing has a rut in it that if anybody's trying to cross through there with a wheelchair or walking, they ain't gonna make it.
That's also on our radar.
It's been there for 3 months and nothing's
I understand.
done.
I understand. It's been a little wet.
Okay?
We get rain and we can't do a whole lot.
Unfortunately, the tornado slowed down.
Well, and that's something else that happened. But it's what it is, the trash truck is very heavy. This thing is 38,000 pounds. And running up and down these wet alleys has really wreaked havoc on all of our alleys. We fix an average of 1 to 2 sewer line taps every month because the trash truck,
But
yeah.
this is technically in the sidewalk areas.
Yeah, and it's also affecting our brick road. So, I mean, yeah, I am keenly aware.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, and it is on our list of things.
Okay.
But see, also too, the restaurant there, the trees have broken up the concrete really bad, and it's made them trip hazards. So we need to go in and fix the concrete to accommodate the growth of the trees. So I mean, all this kind of culminates together. You know, we need to get in there and do that as well. But we've had a lot of rain, which has really thrown us back. Mowing, concrete efforts, we've done what we estimated there's been about $1.5 million worth of damage done to our alleys. That's what we estimated. So, because of the trash truck running up and down the alleyways, it's actually made us look at the possibility of getting a single axle truck.
That's what Coleman did.
Right.
They switched to those.
Right. Getting a single axle truck and possibly going to roll-out dumps instead of having dumpsters in the alleys. Well, not with a single axle because you're reducing your weight quite a bit. And then that's the thing. If we pull them out of the alleys with that 38,000 pound vehicle, then you're tearing up the streets versus the alleys. But
Plus, these things don't look good in the street.
No.
What's that?
These big dumpsters don't look good in the streets.
Well, we'd be taking away all the dumpsters. That's the thing. If you go to a lighter vehicle and put those little blue rollers out, you're reducing a lot of your weight on that truck. Right.
Well, I'm thinking of the big dumpsters that's up in my neighborhood that sit there all week. They don't look very pretty.
Yeah, no, I agree. I got one in front of my house as well. But anyway, we are taking a look at all that because it's wreaking havoc and causing a lot of damage in our alley.
I just want to bring y'all's attention to those 2 items there.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Nick.
Anyone else? Pat? They're not acting like they're with you. I know they're sitting with you, but they're not acting like they're with you.
Tired. You're sorry. We wanted to give you a quick rundown on the picnic in the park. The party in the park.
Before you get
And-
started.
no, What?
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for the hour.
Yes, thank It's fun. These two make it possible with the cook-off. We had probably 6 vendors down. We had 26 cornhole contestants on Friday night, 21 washers, 25 cook-off teams. We thought it was a great success, tripled probably from last year, and it wouldn't have happened without the city. I think the sand volleyball was a hit. It was hot,
It was.
but it was a hit.
But we fixed it.
And yes, and
We got
double
water.
the size of the washers, I think.
Yeah. I told you earlier, I looked out some Angela that play washers.
year round, go all over the state of Texas and go to play $500,000. Those guys were impressed and they told me, you gotta have another tournament over here. So I'm gonna try and start having maybe once every 2 months and bring those guys down.
We can do it all if you want.
That would be good.
I told you what I would do with that method.
I tried to convince Jennifer to do this once a month. and
Oh, yeah, the whole party was.
She told me I must recoup. Yeah, she told me that. Not even.
We're not gonna say
Yeah.
where she told
I
you.
said, you go take a look at the water or whatever the waterfall is gonna piss you off.
Yeah. But no, they did an amazing job. And
I was impressed.
I think everybody was. Everybody in town is talking about, what a success it was. So thank you very much.
Thank God for the help that you gave us. And on another note, we have, on the park board, we have a member that is resigning because of health.
Okay.
I have two that have shown an interest in getting on the board. Do we have to come back with you? I know I've asked y'all this before.
Yes.
You do want to know who's coming on and off.
Right, yeah. It's part of our charter. And
Council has to appoint.
Right.
Council appoints them?
Right.
You're not the only one. We have to do it for other boards as well.
Oh, no, I mean.
Council appoints or approves the appointment?
Appoints.
Well, I mean, it's.
Points on the recommendation.
Bring somebody in.
It doesn't say appoint, it doesn't say who makes the recommendation. City manager? You mean the board members?
Yeah.
It doesn't say that. I mean, it just says y'all will appoint the board.
Okay, do they have to live in the city limits to serve?
I don't believe there's any requirements of that.
That is say that in the charter.
Because we were told that years back.
Well, I can see that being I mean, typically for city boards, most of the time, council wants citizens because.
Right.
But
that's something that.
Is there a limit to time served with the charter? Because I've never seen the charter, so.
Not on the park board, no.
Are you sure? Can you
Yeah.
check that?
Yeah.
They're watching you.
I can
There's no
check
term
it.
limits or anything like that.
Right.
I'm sorry, there's what?
There's no term limits or like that. I mean, you can serve.
You still own that?
You serve from now on.
Right after you.
I know.
I'm good with it. Okay.
I just want to say that the success we had this past weekend, I want to know if we want to go ahead and throw it out there, if we want to go ahead and do it again, we've already have a date for that, set it up again, June 27th in 2020.
No, not at all. We don't want to do that again.
Yeah.
It was just way too successful.
We got to put it on the agenda, but outside of that, I don't have a problem.
Right. We want to continue,
Yes, definitely.
but if you want to set a date, I mean, we got to.
Oh, we'll get back to you on this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of throwing it out there.
We're not going yet. I think that's what he's saying.
Yeah.
It's kind of correct.
Well, I think we need a third annual.
Me too.
Right. So plan on that. Go ahead and start planning now.
Until January.
We have already, I have already.
We did have several people, the vendors included, that said, anytime you're having anything over in the park, we want to be here.
Okay.
One of our vendors was from Brady, and he said, this park beats our park.
Oh, really?
So,
Well, tell them to move that goat cook off down here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not the order to do this.
Yeah, that was very good.
In fact,
okay. Just want to thank y'all for all your help.
Thank y'all very, very much. Thank you guys, y'all coming in.
they were out there those guys.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Got one thing, this is totally no discussion, y'all think about it. Moved a hydrant on South 7th and Plum.
Yes.
Do we have any idea when we're getting another one put back in?
Yes. As soon as we get, we send our guys to fire hydrant school to learn how to redo those hydrants. And, so we got a kit, we're gonna rework it. Now, we're not gonna install it back in that location. We're gonna find a different location, which we're hoping to get closer to the housing authority.
Okay.
Because from my understanding, if that was the closest one to the housing authority, it's like a quarter mile away, it seemed like. Yeah, I mean, it's like 6-7 blocks.
So we're gonna run the 6-inch pipe to it then?
his,
Okay, because my understanding, the only thing that's down that direction is two or three.
well, I mean, there's a whole 10-inch pipe loop down.
Okay, yeah. You gotta have at least 6, or
Yeah.
you're sucking all the forest dry.
No,
So, that
yeah.
was it.
No, there's a plan, it's just, we need to get there, you know. So,
But tell me, can you get my time?
I hate to get one right now. I need to talk to my guy and see when that kit will be in. They've already got it.
But if I were living in that area,
No, I understand that. I understand.
Yeah, we just wanna make sure that it's definitely gonna be tied back into at least a 6 inch, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, the bigger pumps and the bigger trucks, right, it's not.
Yeah, 2 and 3 won't do anything.
So, yeah, I don't think we can even do that. I mean, really, you would, you'd have some physics problems tying a big hydrant like that to a 2-inch line.
Understood. Cool. It got brought enough, I said I didn't answer, got an answer.
Thanks, sir. Anyone else? No? Wow, we got that over for none. Awesome. All right, moving along. City Council may consider, discuss, and authorize a service contract with Hibbs Todd Engineering. You should have this in your packet concerning the standpipe, is that correct?
Yes, this is, 18 May, we lost our standpipe to a tornado. That standpipe was designed by Hibbs and Todd. That day, we called Hibbs and Todd and asked them to come in and to see what they would suggest that we do, since they were the designers of record and the engineers that helped us get that put in. They were the obvious choice that we went to. They've been instrumental in dealing with our TML insurance. They brought in their own tank inspectors. They've, given their records to our insurance company. We need an instrument in which to pay them for the work that they performed thus far. And that's what this is. This is just an instrument to let them get paid, and I believe it's up no more, not to exceed $10,000. So, like I say, they brought their tank engineers out. They coordinated with TML's engineer that was brought in 2 weeks ago. So,
What was the result of the TML engineer?
we don't know yet. It was going to take a couple of weeks for them to get their records to TML. However, when I met with him and Jordan Hibbs and Todd, they were it was positive. He found a bunch of wells that were broken inside. So
The TML engineer?
yes, and that was going to go in his report. TML is aware that we want a new tank, that we do not think that the tank we presently have, even if repaired, would be as in like-new condition. So, the stress that went under was intense, and we don't think it's going to be repairable to, it's something where, in 3 years you may have broken wells and leaks coming out of it
Well,
that resulted from this tornado.
if they went in and patched it, they would have to x-ray every well on that stand. And there's a bunch of them all the way at the top.
Right.
The cost of a repair of one that's 14 years old is astronomical compared to just revealing it.
Right.
And x-raying those wells would be
Yeah.
astronomical, because they'd have to
Right.
scaffold up, do all the x-rays, come back, read them. That's not cheap.
Right.
And that's not good. I would not be comfortable retaining that standing like that.
Right.
Well, that's not the direction we want.
Okay. But anyway, so it was a favorable, when we talked to the engineer, it was favorable that they were going to, release that report to TML. Now, he wouldn't tell us that they were going to recommend getting a new pipe or a new standpipe, but all he did is list all the damage, the stress on the anchor bolts, the possible stress on the concrete, the wells that were stayed. So
You're saying he, the TML engineer?
Yes, yes. Anyway, so, we expect that report out this week, but being July 4th, probably next week. So, anyway, we're in hopes that, we'll hear from TML, a favorable report for us.
Tell me what happens to the old tower if that happens.
It would essentially belong to the insurance company.
Probably would.
We make a giant barbecue pit.
Yeah, yeah.
That'd be a long one.
Robert, when I went to my paramedic training in Sweetwater, and we had a rappel tower, and I was wondering, I'm just asking, I'm just thinking, that'd be a wonderful tower if it were modified with rappel.
We love it. Give it to us.
No, I'm just saying, I'm just throwing something out there, because I didn't know what was in that. She said barbecue pit, but, you know.
We can make a barbecue.
No, that was gonna be a wonderful barbecue pit.
Like insulate fire.
We could work
Like a
something,
spaceship and.
we could work something out.
I thought it was a green idea, and everybody laughed at it.
We actually expanded
Well,
on
for
it.
training too.
They were actually laughing at the barbecue pit idea.
Yeah, they were like it.
We're just laughing at you
Let's
for
get
repelling.
real shallow.
I want to see how much.
No, we could do.
We want to see you repel down the bottom.
Repel off, do everything off that thing.
Well, that's what I was saying, I could do one.
That's super.
Well, that's to the insurance company.
Yeah.
I know, that's why I asked.
No, it would belong to the insurance company. And more than likely, they would scrap it out and try to offset the cost.
Okay.
We could always buy it back for that purpose, but we'd have to get an engineer involved to get it moved, get it set up.
I know.
That's not cheap.
Yeah. So anyway, I could explore that a little bit and see what it might cost.
I'm sure it'll be minimal exploration, but I would appreciate it.
I will do that for you, Bob. And it is a good idea, just for the record.
Oh,
Yeah.
you had to find me every minute, I feel better.
All right, any other questions? Else? All right, motion to authorize a service contract with Hibbs Todd Engineering for the repair of the standpipe.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Which one?
Uh,
All in favor, say aye.
I was looking down.
All right, that's fine. All right, City Council may consider, discuss, and authorize a joint election contract with Runnels County for the general election on November 6, 2019.
This just basically says that we're going to be having an election at the same time with the county, and they're going to do the results. They'll count the ballots and all that. So I mean, it's
The same thing we did.
it's something that we do regularly. We don't want to have separate elections. That would be very cost prohibitive.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
They'll run the election for us, correct?
Yes. All we got to do is show the vote. Is there any questions on this one?
I noticed on the agenda it says the 6th of November, that should be November 5th.
In the agreement, it says it is.
Just so we can make a motion.
Anybody have any questions, concerns about the agreement? Same as the general agreement we have every year.
Right.
All right, motion to authorize the service contract, the joint election contract with Runnels County for the general election on November 5th, 2019.
I make a motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right. City Council may consider, discuss, and authorize the Veterans Day Parade for November 11th, 2019. And this is the Veterans, Miss Van Zandt, correct?
Yes, Sandra Van Zandt. She coordinates this every year. Well, I guess it's only been going for a few years, but, we had one last year, the same route and everything. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward.
Any questions?
What time will it be?
Normally around 10 or 11.
Yeah, I was gonna say 10 or 11 on.
It's 2. Yeah. Yeah, they do a ceremony at the courthouse lawn and then they have a parade.
Any other questions? All right, motion to authorize Veterans Day Parade for Monday, November 11th, 2019, please.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All right, City Council may consider, discuss, and authorize the opening of bids for employee health insurance coverage for the fiscal year 2019-2020.
What this is, we went out to bid for health insurance for the employees, or, yeah, for city employees. And we received the bids. We received 3 bids. One was from Frost Insurance, one was from Stace and Pickett out of San Angelo, and the other one was from TML, who is our current provider. We're going to open these up. We'll need to evaluate and run a bid tab at a later date. We're just going to open them up here today.
You said 3, we only had 2.
There's, 10
10 numbers going up. So, we're going to look at them later because we're doing it now. So we're going to look at them later date and apparently we're doing nothing about getting confused.
We have to open.
council review.
Okay. This one is from Frost. Is there one for Mr. Pat as well or not? Yeah. Chicken? Thought you. Did he send me these? That's all?
Stand over.
There's a lot of different packages for health insurance. Frost has given us 1, 2, 3, 4 different packages to look at here. So. It'll be TML, Blue Cross Advantage, or Blue Cross and Blue Shield, Blue Advantage HMO, Blue Choice TPO, and that's the base plan. And you got to buy a plan on that Blue Cross and Blue Shield, Blue Choice TPO as well.
This is going to be for everybody. They got this one all measured out.
Okay, so the city covers the employees, so what we're looking at is, well, we need to actually learn too, but a lot of it,
All one.
the family.
All one, but it has benefits again on right. So it's not like that. You want to put this one, we'll have to break it down.
The other bid we'll have to break down individually. Each little package is based on a folder for it.
I thought this was going to be one for each of us individually, but basically what they've done is they've broken it up by medical, dental, vision, life, and D, so it's not going to be able to be passed out for everybody to have a piece of it, okay?
Who's that from?
This one is from Zesh and Pickett, San Angelo.
How did Ross submit a bill on that?
They've been negotiating with TML to provide that. Possession Picker did the same thing. Yeah, they went to TML as a provider, just like Blue Cross and Blue Shield or United had them. I didn't either.
Well, that's the same thing.
Is on Blue Cross and Blue Shield and so HMO,
Yes.
a lot of people want that.
Right, well, basically what we talked to them about is providing different packages. So you can offer an HMO or you can offer a PPO. And you know, so I mean, they can choose which package they want to go with.
That's what it said here, you choose one of these packages.
Right.
What I'm saying, well, medical provider for that.
Oh, yeah, that is correct.
Ruth,
That is correct.
you're exactly right. If you're Blue Cross HMO, you will be going to Shannon.
That only for Medicare.
No.
No, only for Medicare, we checked.
No, you're wrong. Teresa's problem was deep and they wouldn't take it.
Right.
We had to go elsewhere. We had to go to Evelyn.
Were you on Medicare?
Oh, she's not over there.
It's not.
She's 17 years younger than I am. Don't put her in my category.
Because we called Shannon and they verified that they will take this HMO plan.
Blue Cross HMO?
Yeah. Because that was one of the big questions.
Right.
That's right. Rick.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree with you.
Right. No, and I mean, this is something we need to look at. I mean, this is why we asked for the bids, so we can start talking, negotiating, and see what we can do. Because we got big
We told the
questions.
oncologist, that top dog over there, Shannon,
Right,
he said, you're gonna have to pay me money up front. I will not take yours.
right.
And she's not on Medicare, she's on Blue Cross HMO.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
No, because that was one of our concerns, that's why we went and asked them. And,
I'm sure this is sheriff, if he's an oncologist.
right,
Nope, we don't take it.
okay.
What's the difference in the first page and the second page?
I do not know.
Look, I mean, I don't know what we're putting in, it's pretty second and and then what is this page that says Ballinger on it, City of Ballinger, that,
They're exactly.
just the breakout of,
Well, they're cheaper, if you look at the second page, it's much be different plan.
oh, I see, you're right, okay.
Yeah, it should be different plans, should be different plans.
Well, see, our goal, okay, HMOs aren't very popular, however, with what we basically have with TML is a PPO right now. Now, for one of my employees,
Go ahead.
for one of my employees to get health insurance for his wife and kids, under this current plan that we have now with TML, it may cost them $1,500 a month, which, they don't.
It's half term.
Yeah, that's basically 2 weeks worth of pay, if not more than what they're making. So, I mean, even an HMO, if we offered it, might be better than what we're offering with a PPO because they can afford it.
I don't see this on here, but through my company, we get what's called a HDHP, high deductible health plan option,
Right.
where it's lower cost out of pocket, but if you go to the doctor, you have to pay more deductible up front, but then it covers great at the end of the year.
Right.
That's what TML does for us, right?
These things are very complicated.
Yeah, they are.
You can get a high deductible, right? And we're looking at if a person goes to the emergency room for the sniffles, if you have a high deductible,
Pay all of that pocket.
right, $400, $500, $600, it kind of curtails some of the going there just because you have a bruise.
We have a high deductible plan for 10 mil with a HRA card that offsets a portion of that, so basically they put $100 a month on that.
Oh,
So you don't pay anything.
I have the same thing. I have a HSA. Where I got to figure out they match some $1,500 a year, and I got to pay the rest. Which my deductible's like
But
$5.
no, these plans are all over the board. You know,
This is high. I work here, I can afford this.
no, nobody can. I mean, that's why we're looking for something different. You know, I don't see how they've been able, I mean, Christie's husband worked here, and one of the big reasons he left was because he couldn't get insurance, affordable insurance for his wife and kids. So I'm facing the same problem. So anyway, yeah, that one over there is too, Stan. I mean, you know, there's a lot of them that are facing the same problem. Either was like, you know, one of the people in the tornado victims is either eat or have house insurance, you know. Now it's either eat or have health insurance. At least an HMO is better than no insurance.
Right.
Yeah. But
So
anyway,
then that goes to my question, is what is this page that says city boundary? Is that, I mean, it's breaking down costs by employee cost monthly, employer cost monthly. What does that mean?
I do not know. What we'll do is.
For an employer?
Employer monthly contribution, which to me sounds like the city would be paying this amount.
Correct. For the
And
employee,
then the employee's cost was
it's what they're
related to
paying.
what plan they get. Okay.
Right.
Whichever plan they get, it's in the difference of what they'll pay for their coverage.
Right.
Quite expensive to get sick.
Sam, rather than wiring around off in the wilderness, could we have an independent guy that didn't have a dog in the fight to review these things with us and ask a person that's knowledgeable in industry questions? Because this, just throwing it at me, this means very little to me.
Well, that's like they all did. They basically send us all the information they have, even Zesh and Pickett, that's what they do. They basically have multiple companies, so they're trying to get it. That's what this guy, Cross, that's what he does. He has multiple companies.
This is the simplification of it.
For now.
Basically going out for bid. They take all the information of all of our people. This is what we can get. This is what they're giving back. And they go out to all the companies. And
Basically, what we've done is gone out to 2 consultants and said, can you find us better, anything better than what we've got
Do
now?
you have any kind of comparison sheet, like what we have now versus what would be proposed, so we can see?
We will.
Look at it.
Just so we can kind of look at
So
it.
today, we're just kind of getting some of the information. We're not getting those packets.
What happened here was, they didn't give you a sheet like this for me to give to everybody. This is all divided out where they did dental, vision, medical, so
what we
they
have
didn't
to
give
do
us,
is
they didn't give us each one.
evaluate what they've given us and do a bid tab,
So
basically.
are you gonna get us copies of the other stuff?
Yes.
Or are we gonna sit down and?
Well, I do an Excel file.
Yeah, what we'll do is we gotta sit down with these guys and see what they've given us and talk to them and you know, we give you this information, but you're gonna have to sit and study it, you know. But what our deal is, we will put it in like a bid tab and say, okay, here's what we have now, here's what this company's offering, here's our consultant, and here's what this consultant's saying. So, and then get kind of a bottom line price where you can make a good judgment based on what you're seeing.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm one of the board of directors of United Way with the administration person from Shannon, and the Blue Cross HMO is out of their network. So you can get it, you can go there, you're going to pay more or whatever, but it's considered out of their network in Shannon.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions? Sir? Oh, okay. All right. We will compile the information, try to get a breakdown, and then see what's the best of the best to make a decision on, all right? All right, City Council may consider discussing authorize the purchase of property located at 509 South Broadway, legal description, Lot 6. What? No, what? Okay, my fault. Reverse, rescind. Going back to agenda item 9, I need a motion to table the authorization of opening bids for the health insurance.
Motion to table.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
We did open the bids.
We did open the bids, and she's told me to table it to
Don't
review.
they have to table it because they didn't take action?
No, because we don't have action posted on it. I mean, we did what we did, we just posted.
Oh,
We did, we did.
authorize the opening.
Rescind. Okay, can I go back to 10? Yeah, too many bosses are. Sir,
I may rescind my motion.
go ahead. Rescind.
I rescind my motion. Due to their attorneys.
I don't think anymore.
Right, erase it. All right, city council may consider, discuss, and authorize the purchase of property located at 509 South Broadway, legal description Lot 6, Block 65, original edition.
This property owner has come to us asking if we would be willing to buy the property. It's on South Broadway. I don't even know if we've come up with a price yet. But we're looking to, do you know if they've come up with a price?
Steve offered them $1,000.
Okay. Did they accept that bid? Okay. So we're gonna buy this property for $1,000. And we've been purchasing property down in that area because it's all in the flood zone, traditionally, so,
What are we gonna do?
Can't do anything.
Yeah. What do we wanna do? I mean, what are we benefiting out of mine?
I can't remember, is there a house on that road?
Yes.
Steve was gonna be here, and, he got tied up, but there's a house on it, and I'm imagining we'll tear it down. We'll either get it this way or through taxes, one or the other.
Which way is cheaper?
$1,000 either way.
Well, you were talking about, we have other properties down there, does this one join any of those properties we have?
No, but the one, when we buy the next one, it will. No, we've been systematically going through there and purchasing the property, either through tax sale or just acquiring it outright. Now, this isn't gonna help us in some of the stuff that we wanna do down there per se, but we will be able to, and my guess is we'll tear it down and make it a lot. There's no reason not to buy it for what it is.
But there's no way, being it's in the floodplain, if we buy it, and even if we tear the building down, then it's basically doesn't do anything for us, we can't really sell it.
Right.
At the moment for
We're better up.
Right. Well, I mean, our move down there, eventually we're wanting to develop some of that property. Like I say, I don't know how this would fit into that, but,
How are we able to develop it if it's in the floodplain and they're not able to develop it?
depends on how you develop it. If you make a sports complex, then you can't, it's not gonna, a sports complex wouldn't necessarily be affected by flood.
Well, it's not a structure.
Right. Yeah, so you can develop it.
For
yeah.
RV park.
Yeah, exactly. So, just because there's not a structure on it doesn't mean we're not tending to it.
Right.
But, as far as building a structure there, we would never do that again at that location. At this moment, it's not in our plan. But I guess what said the market value 2018 is 14 $1,450.
I'm not sure, but it's not valued too high.
Most lots aren't valued too much.
Most homes, most lots, most everything.
Yeah. Except Jason's. His is pretty-
Yeah, mine's way below, I don't know what it is.
You got 3 dumpsters.
It's like a castle.
Any other questions? Comments? Concerns? Here?
Looks like we're only getting $75 a year out of it. Yeah, not even, we're getting $15 a year out of it.
Yeah. I believe this owner lives in,
Where do you,
yeah, in Virginia, so she's an absentee landowner.
Yeah, they were gonna, at first, they were gonna come in and try and fix it up.
And that was
Yeah.
the ones that were connected
Yeah,
there,
we're
but they
looking
wanted
at-
to.
That is one of the houses that we were after condemned. So,
But now we want to buy
well, they want to sell it, get rid of it. I mean, there's nothing else they're gonna be able to do with
it. If we condemn it, we get it for free.
it. No,
No.
they still own the property. You
Okay,
just tear the house down.
okay.
Now what now?
If we condemn it, they still own the property.
Yeah, well, yeah. You condemn it,
We tear the house down,
Tear the
they
house
still own
down.
the property.
they'll own the property unless you take a lien against it, whether the city tears it down.
Right. Which we do. We put liens against the property. That, we would probably end up with it anyway.
That's what that's what.
However, you know, I hate, I don't want to do business that way with some of our citizens. I mean, it's possible and we can do it. I just hate to do that.
Well, I understand what you're saying, but at the same time, we're gonna still have to maintain it, take care of it, whatever it is, let it go. Whether we give them $1,000 for it, or we take a lien.
Right. Right.
You're not willing to just donate it to us?
We can ask them.
it's not like, you know,
Just
I have a hard time
That's
finding
kind of what I
property
was
just like to
thinking in
maintain
my
it.
mind, is I was,
Well, they don't have to pay taxes on it anymore. It's not doing anything for them.
Let's do that.
yeah.
We can approach them and try and negotiate something different. Well, since we're on the subject, what would we be willing to pay for that property?
You already offered.
I know, but,
You already offered them $1,000. Now you're gonna try to say, hey, we changed our mind.
well, that's what we're gonna say
Doesn't
now.
don't cancel us making them change his mind.
We're gonna say, well, you know, they voted not to do it, so, you know, we can make another offer.
I guess if we make an offer, is it- if we have to get approval to do it in the first place.
Yeah, we did the offer.
We didn't know what the offer was made.
Because one of these people involved in this war were because we brought some stuff out of that. We never cleared it out.
I understand your dilemma.
I just hate for us to have to spend the money, it's gonna take the most all the time now. Back in the day.
Yeah, we
Well,
need
donate
that
it,
money.
I'm fine with that. Like that.
Yeah, if they would donate it, that would be great, because we need every dollar that we can save to put it towards
Streets.
trees, roads, street signs, those
Totally
kind
agree
of
with that.
things.
I totally agree.
I would love to help them, but it might be a help to them just to take it off their hands as a donation.
Okay.
I assume they're paying somebody to mow it now. Somewhat, what kind of mow?
That may have been us.
That could have been an old picture too.
That's like a whole lot of head there.
Yeah, it could be an old picture. I don't know, how come I could idea of see if I donate it?
We can repurchase it.
Tell them, you know, they're gonna go, well, you already said this. You asked us first.
Good idea,
Yeah, I mean,
but probably
they-
not gonna happen.
Probably not.
Did they owe back taxes?
To my knowledge, they do not.
Okay.
If y'all don't want to do it, I would, instead of tabling it, I would just go ahead and say no. That way I can tell them no, and then we can do something different. Because that offer would like end there. You know what I'm saying?
I make a motion that we decline.
The purchase of the property at 509 South Broadway.
Yes.
Okay.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, City Council may hear the monthly police activity report from Chief Stanley Maresch. Wake up, Stanley.
All right, for the month of June, we had a total of 346 calls for service. 205 reports taken, 8 arrests, and 8 accidents. 86 citations with 3 code violations, and 63, a little over $6,200 in work. So they didn't happen much. I mean, this weekend was pretty smooth for the most part.
Good everywhere.
Nothing major.
Awesome.
Any other questions, comments, concerns?
Thank you, sir.
That's good. Thank you, sir. All right, consider approval of the building permits. I believe we had one that was in the packet, and we've had an additional one come in.
Right. One in the packet. Yeah, Larry Holder. We went down there. I guess he's adding a laundry room. We looked, and Steve said it was okay. So I vote well, I can't vote, but I'm going to ask that we approve this one. An additional one that came in later was for Leo Garcia. It's a carport at 409 Avenue A. And Steve did go out and look to make sure that it was within its setbacks, requirements and everything, and he said it was good to go.
So tell me, Steve approves both of these.
Yes, sir.
Motion to approve, Sam.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. All right, here's the city administrator, bi-weekly report, please.
All right. Some of you may notice that we repaired some water lines on 8th Street. We're going back now to the street department and repairing some of the damage done on 8th Street. Some of those canals or trenches were filled in with dirt. They kept getting washed out, and kept having to come back in. We're now going back in and putting a proper patch on them so they're nice and smooth. I think there's, I counted 16, 17 some trenches that we're having to redo. So we'll be working on that till we're done.
That's what my body shop man said. I think he counted 17.
17 trenches. Yeah.
The one that put realign the front end.
Yeah. But it'll realign it to the right, to the left.
Here's the next one. It's a weird deal, too.
But yeah, it's gonna be a good deal.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll get that 8th Street smoother than it is now.
Well, we had to replace the service line regardless.
We did.
We had
Yeah.
an ongoing situation.
Right. I mean, it's unbelievable. The barbecue, cook-off, and the fireworks were a great hit. I think we talked about that earlier. So we're already planning next year's event, especially fireworks. We're trying to get the guy in next year, maybe a little more closer towards July 4th. So we might have this event on the 28th of June, and then a different event on closer to the next weekend. So
Suggestion, next time we do this, have somebody count the cars. I would be real curious as to how many cars and people were out.
well, I was sitting there just in the park area. I think I lost count 320, something like that.
300?
Oh yeah, that was.
That's
Well,
what
that
I
was
was
all the way to
guesstimating.
go all the way to the dam.
Right.
It was packed.
That's what I was guesstimating is over 300.
Yeah, but that's not the end of the count, because I had an original idea to park on that highway.
Right.
you know, that paved road that goes to Cowboy Shirt.
Right.
There was probably 40 or 50 cars
Oh, yeah.
beside me.
Yeah, no, you know, you go a little further out into, you know, the county road.
Yes, yes.
I saw people parked on 2111.
That's what a problem.
Yeah, the road leading up there, I mean, they were everywhere, so.
They were
cars.
Yeah, no, it was a huge turnout,
very impressive.
yeah, and it was really good. And kudos to Kid.
And Kid hurt.
Kid hurt his crew. And, let's see, we ordered our disc golf material for the park. Last meeting, we had talked about using some, used equipment. Mr. Harris went and looked at the equipment, and a lot of it was rusty. So we decided not to go with the used equipment. We decided to go with the original 9 pieces of brand new equipment from Disc Golf Association. Those have been ordered. They'll be here July the 5th. Let's see.
There are a lot of people excited about this.
Yes,
A lot of comments.
right. And he's, you know, the Disc Golf Association is talking about it. They're in San Angelo. Paul Harris is actually the editor, one of the editors of the San Angelo Standard Times. So he wrote an article. He's also going to get people in Abilene to write an article. So, and our local newspaper, I'm sure, will pitch in with Gatehouse Media.
He went off somewhere.
Oh, right. James, what was that now? What am I doing?
We were talking about the Disc Golf Association, when we get that installed, you know, have an article maybe written about it.
Yeah, we can do that,
Yeah.
for sure.
Let's see, moving on, replacement on 2nd Street. We had to dig in to see what was actually under 2nd Street. We thought it was the concrete pipe. Sure enough, it was, you know, with some steel in there. We need to replace all that, so from Sergeant to Sergeant, over the next 2-3 weeks, we'll start that process of replacing that pipeline.
Next week.
Yeah. Yeah. So, we started demolition on the 2 houses that were affected by the tornado, and we've already knocked down Julie's house. We haven't picked it up, but we're. Yeah, it's not like it was a feat. And then we'll start in on Normal Bride's house. So that will be ongoing through the next 2-3 weeks. We've tentatively scheduled the demolition of the putt-putt golf course for July the 8th. It's kind of going to depend on how the houses go, but it'll happen right after.
We couldn't get some of those high school students to do that?
Well, the breaking up with the concrete would be
Yeah, but they've got a lot of stuff to do there before you break the concrete.
yeah.
All the wood, all that kind of stuff.
They'll all be scooped up on the time.
It will.
Yeah.
Our main thing is we need what we call a ramp, like a jackhammer.
Yeah.
It goes onto the backhoe, and it's just a little steamer, and break up all the concrete.
Yeah.
And after that, we'll get the excavator out there to pick up the concrete. So it'll all kind of go together.
Yeah, well, I was just thinking, they could get started on it.
Now, see, the plan is to turn that over to them around the 20th, to the kids that are going to be working on it. We'll hand it over to them and say, get going, you know, because all that other stuff, the heavy concrete work will be out. So that's our plan. So we're kind of working with their budget. Actually, they set up a donation booth this weekend.
They did.
Made over $200.
They did well, that y'all filled up.
Well, and they weren't selling anything. They were just asking for donations. I mean, so, and I don't know if she told us that Park Board made over $6,000, I believe it was, for off this weekend. So for the imagination station stuff, you know, and going to other future projects.
Yeah. Those two young people that had donations over there,
Yes.
every time you walk by, they say, you want to donate something?
Yeah, I know.
They already knew, they already done it, they get you again.
We're in the middle of converting our software from USDI to FindView. We've done the general ledger and accounts payable. I guess on the books next is payroll. And we're thinking to do code enforcement, or no, municipal, court, right. Utility billing was gonna be pushed back a little bit. So we'll be in the middle of that for the next 2-3 weeks, I guess. After they put some of that, well, I guess payroll in, they're gonna send somebody down, is that right? Just to make sure we got everything going? Okay, that's the tentative plan with FundView. Something else I wanna add that isn't on the list. As of the 25th of June, we've used our 360 acre feet from Millersview-Doole, which is our contracted amount. We contacted Millersview-Doole to see if they were gonna go down on their amount of water that they require us to take. And they have a board meeting set for the third Monday of the month. So in a couple more weeks, they'll have a board meeting to see if they want to go down. Initial indication from Cody, the manager over there, was that they did not want to go down. I think what it is, even though they will have to pay a penalty, they are going to go over this year, but they'd rather us take it and pay the penalty because they're scared if they don't, then they're still going to be stuck with their 500 or 600 feet that they have to take. So we might go up there and make a case as to why they need to go ahead and take their acre footage back. Does that make sense?
Really?
So, because we were really hoping that they would release us from the rest of that contract, because they're going to use more water than they pay for from CRMWD. So they're going to have to take a penalty on it.
How big a penalty?
We don't know yet.
That's what we're.
Right.
They take a look at how big that penalty is.
Right. But that board there is just scared they're going to get on the hook for all the water without us being there to help absorb the costs. Right. So they'd really pay the penalty. That's the initial indication we got when Randy and I called Cody, the general manager, Millersview-Doole. I put in a call to John Grant to see what he thought about it. I've not had anything back yet, which I probably won't.
Probably won't.
Yeah. But anyway, so that's a big thing for us. We need to get that 360 acre feet of water worked down. So anyway, I'll give you an update on that as we progress and see if there's anything we can do about it. I might even talk to Pat a little bit more about that.
Trust me, we hit a brick wall.
Now they did have 2 new members, so that might be to our advantage. Some of they may be a lot more progressive than
The adventure.
So, other than that, that's all I had.
So Tommy, the doghouse on 8th Street still in transition, I guess?
Yes, we sent the letter. We give them, 30 days to comply. We sent a letter of demand asking them to move it, or we were going to send them a citation. There's 2 avenues we can, fine, and or move it for them and then fine them for that or charge them for it. So we haven't passed our 30 days yet. So
What is the 30 days out?
I'll have to get the date for you. I don't know right offhand. Also, too, I did hand this out. I know a lot of people have asked about the high weeds in the area. I handed this to you guys so you know who we hit with letters. And if y'all want to, and some of them have already been tended to, some probably still need to be tended to. We've had a lot of problems with the rain and people getting time to go out and knock their yards down. Some are absentee landowners. For instance, there's one on 7th Street, I think the 300 block. It's the house that y'all had the
Did that get mowed?
estate sale. The front did, they're having trouble getting to the back. But some of these kind of got away from the landowners because it grew so fast.
The absentee landowners I can understand.
Right.
The ones that still live here,
Right.
we need to push them a little harder.
Right. And some of them had what do you call it, arrangements set up, but it outgrew the guy who was supposed to mow it. I think Lloyd Smith had that trouble up on 11th Street. She had the old mobile home park. And the guy who typically mowed it got bigger than what his equipment was to handle. So now she's having to go to Plan B, get somebody in there to shred it and stuff like that. And we're having the same trouble with the city. We've got lots up here that, you know, are 6-7 foot tall because we just haven't got to get to it yet. So, but we're over on 13th Street. You know, we got that drainage. That's all grown up. We need to knock it out. So it's just, we'll catch up. It's just taking a little while.
The sun will kill the rest of it pretty quick.
Yeah.
The sun will kill the rest of it pretty quick.
Well, yeah.
Right rain.
Yeah. Yeah, if it doesn't rain. So.
This list you created, Tommy, is this coming off of citizen complaints, or is this the code enforcement officer driving by?
Both.
Both. Because in the past, so much has been done just based on complaints.
Right.
Somebody has to complain before the thing is done,
Right.
regardless whether it's a code violation or not.
Right. Some of it is, you know, Steve, he just goes up and down and looks and.
This 503 North Knight, $118,000 home, you can't see the house.
Yeah. I have one.
I didn't know from out there, so it pointed out to me that they already walked here.
You would never know there's a house there.
That's right. That's right.
Right.
Merle, I think it was Merle and, I think Fritz used to live there.
Merle Bank. Merle
I think it's Merle and Knight, roughly.
Yeah, a little bit up.
A little bit up from Merle.
So it's probably, well, it's 500 block.
Anyway, I drive by there pretty much regularly.
Do we issue citations, I suppose?
We do, yes. We issue citations and we have been, I don't have the list on the citations, but these are the letters that were sent out from code enforcement.
And so what happens when, like what we're talking about is a foreclosure, and so what happens? We send a ticket to the VA because that's who owns it.
Well,
You told me they sent a letter to the bank, and waiting on that, you got no response, basically.
Yeah, you won't
Yeah.
get any response.
well, I'm not sure what Steve, if you talk to him, because he typically tries to call, like the one on 7th Street. We called a lady in California. You know, we gave her a list of people who go out and mow those lots, and I think she made an arrangement with ASCII, and I don't know, but I know it got mowed. So, you know, we'd like to have a lot of as much contact as we can, especially with absentee people. Now, if it's a bank and they don't respond, you know, we can and will mow the property and then place a lien on the property.
Because that one's been really tall for a really long time.
Right. So
From the 503?
Yeah, the 503 North 7th, they had assigned it to a realtor, and then they withdrew it. And so when they do assign it to a realtor, that's when they start mowing.
Right.
Everything looks nice, but then when they take it back and it's in limbo
right,
land again, it goes to pop.
right. Agreed. Anyway, these are, just to let y'all know, these are on our radar. We're working on them. So,
All right.
and
Good.
Yeah. All right. Hear requests for future agenda items from city council, please.
Tell me, new chamber, have they already moved, or when are they?
As far as I know, they already moved.
No.
They haven't? Yeah.
No.
Oh, I thought they moved.
No, we don't know. We're not.
Where are they gonna move to?
Bam.
I hear, right next to Denver Dollar, or Dollar General.
So I heard it was for Wednesday.
I've not heard anything about it.
Why are they?
They want to separate from the city.
Well, not totally separate. They wanted to be closer to the merchants and be more in the downtown area. Those reasons.
Okay.
Yeah. They have free rent here, right?
And electricity,
Electricity, phone.
free water.
Well, that'll be great. We can put that for
Yeah, we
executive.
got a good conference room.
I think that, we're planning on using a combination of hot funds and, whatever revenue they do.
The only hot funds they're gonna be able to use for that is to pay for the,
Help.
The rent, or
the person that's the receptionist.
The help, right?
That they get a percentage from the hot funds to do that.
okay. Yeah,
But
I
they
don't,
can't pay anything else.
So how do they pay them in electricity?
I can't really, I don't know. I can't talk with any of that.
As far as what I
I
said,
tend to get in trouble.
get a percentage.
Rick, I heard they hired a lady from out of town.
I think
An out of towner
here,
left to run the chamber, is that correct?
as far as I know, I just met the lady one time.
Well,
I don't know her.
yeah, I heard today that they fill both positions, so I don't know. I don't know who the other person is either, so.
But technically, Tammy is still in place.
She is still employed.
That's
Are
what
we still
Like
paying?
chamber.
we're still paying.
We are not. The city of Ballinger has stopped paying her 9 May,
Okay.
9th of May. She's, I believe, still employed with the chamber.
Okay.
So
I think she had, what,
I think till 31st of July will be her last day. And maybe it's the same with Amy as well. I think she's leaving for another job. That's my understanding.
All right. Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
I make the motion. Adjourn.
I second.
All in favor, say aye. You made the motion.
You made it. I
I
said.
made the motion.
But you